What's going on, guys? This is Captain Mojo, bringing you my first Warpath Ace Shooter content video. First things first, I just want to show you my base, show you what I got going on. Right now I'm in the Silver 1 League. If I could guess, we were in a lower Silver 1 because in this event we have coalition partners. So I'll go ahead and show you the different alliances that are in this event. I don't think I've played with any of these guys before. I am the Western Front. And this event we will be allied with the Eastern Front, going against the North and South Front. So let's go ahead and look at some of my units and just take a look at my base. I'm an artillery officer. I'm sorry, not an officer. I'm an artillery commander, meaning I focus mainly on my artillery. These are my units. My main soaking unit right now is a super heavy tank. And my two unit killers are going to be my ATG and this Liberty howitzer. This howitzer is solely for killing bases, and I've recently just picked up a infantry unit, so whenever I fight base to base, I can swap in between infantry and a super heavy depending on my opponent's unit setup. Let's go ahead and look at some of my officers here. On my ATG, I've got Argent Flame and Maestro. I like this pair. Of course, Maestro, he is solely a ATG officer. You can use him on different units, but his skills are mainly derived for an anti-tank gun. And then, of course, I've got Argent Flame as the captain officer, so that way his buffs, his skills will increase Maestro's skills and gives me a deadly combination whenever it's garrisoned in my base. Moving on to the super heavy. I've had these two officers on my super heavy for about 2 years. And the reason I've done that is because Lilith dropped so many artillery officers that it was hard for me to keep up with how many new officers that I had to continuously awaken and whatnot. So I always said once I got my artillery officers squared away to where they were halfway decent, I would start focusing on my super heavy officers. Well, then I inherited a infantry. Infantry is really good, especially against bases that don't have howitzers in it. So I've decided to go ahead and play with the infantry. Now, I don't have any awakened infantry officers, so I went ahead and put the two that I do want to awaken, and that is Lady Angel of Light and Everbloom. They're relatively lower level right now as far as the skills go,
all I want
but
is a quiet life.
it offers me more defensive stats than if I were to use
Victory.
Complete
my other awakened officers, which would be Percy, Valkyrie, and War Machine. Now, my infantry is not meant to do any field fighting. It's only meant to soak damage. That's the only reason that I use an infantry. Now moving to my first Liberty howitzer. I'm going with Saber of the Nation and Antonia. I finally awakened Saber probably a month ago. He's my first exclusive lounge artillery officer. I kind of wish I would have awakened Lady Liberty, but you live and you learn. Saber of the Nation does a great job. I can take this artillery out into the field, and I could really hurt the enemy with this artillery and this officer setup. This is my baby. I've been playing with this specific artillery unit since day one. I've put a lot of work and focus into this artillery, and it is getting me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of kills by itself. Moving on to my last howitzer. It'll also be a Liberty. And I am rocking Eye of Providence and Eruptor on this artillery. I'm not really a fan of Eruptor in this stage of the game, but he has really good siege skills, and it really complements Eye of Providence's siege skills. So with these two on this howitzer, I can really hurt a base. So let's go ahead and check out the base. As you can see, I'm 237 mil power, but this is all buffed. I'm currently buffed at the moment. As you can see, all my units, they're all buffed. And that's just because we're in an L4 event. We're in a level 4 city. So I always keep my units buffed. I always make sure I have other buffs ready to go, so whenever the fighting starts, I won't have to go through and buy anything anymore. I could just click buffs, activate, and we're good to go. So this is my base. Nothing too special. I really like the base decorations. I have the majority of them that are available. Not all of them, but I have quite a few. All of my barracks are at level 32. I only have one Air Force hangar that is at level 32. The others are 29 and 26. And the reason that is because I've focused more on my ground units instead of my Air Force. That's just my personal thing. I've seen people do it the other way, and they do just fine. But for me, I've always been a player that likes to do base to base. I like to burn bases. I like to jump into builds and block builds and things like that. I like when people attack my base. So I've focused mainly on my ground units. Now my level 32 is going to be for my Martyr fighter plane. All my other Air Force bombers, I will eventually get to them, but as of right now in my current stage in the game, they are not a necessity. I pretty much just use my bombers right now to kill Raven troops, because they can't really make a difference on the battlefield. Another thing I'll do is I'll swap my bombers out with, empty units to get a camp buff. Well, as you can see, my artillery officers here, Silver Comet and the Witcher. I had these two awaken before they did the whole Witcher thing, where they nerfed her. But I still kept her because what I use my plane for is just complete maneuverability. I like to, soak up damage in the airspace so other people can, in turn, do the damage. So that's pretty much how I play it with my Air Force units. I'm currently VIP 15. I have 157 million kills. I am the leader of the XT Alliance. And I've been the leader of the XT Alliance for some time now. Yeah, we pretty much just play silver. I like to go into the... what do they call it nowadays? I like to go into the competitive conquests. And I like to do that because before the competitive contest, we would run into an alliance that had 3 people with max units, and they were unbeatable. So whenever we had events like that, they weren't very fun, So whenever the competitive event started rolling around, we decided this would be the best fit for our alliance. What else could I show you? This is, maybe we can go through some units and some parts here. It's my anti-tank gun. I love it. Fully modified. Here's my parts. My parts aren't very great on pretty much all of my units, but parts are hard to come by, as you know. I used to dedicate a lot of resources into getting blueprints and hunting down these good blueprints. But Lilith has added so much to the game that I had to eventually end up branching off from just finding good blueprints into doing other things like this this mechanic system that they put in, Again, I'm in Silver 1 competitive, so my level cap is a 8.1. So my mechanic systems can only go to level 40. That's the reason for that. Let's check out the Super Heavy. 365 mil HP. Fully modded. Here's my Super Heavy parts. I only have 3 A++ parts. I'm always looking to get it fully, A++ part all the way through. But again, our A++ parts are few far in between. So let's go. Here's the infantry. Again, I just got the infantry this event, so I haven't really had the opportunity to put much time and effort into it. Fully modded. Here's my parts. Not so good, but we'll work on it for sure. And here is my crown jewel. This is my Liberty Howitzer that has Saber of the Nation and Antonia on it. 10 million firepower. That's impressive at level 8.1. That's very impressive. Here's my parts. And here's the second Liberty howitzer that has Eye of Providence and Eruptor on it. We're at 7.37 mil firepower, but again, this howitzer is more used for base burning with the officer setup that I have. So let's go check out my Air Force. It's my Martyr fighter plane. This is fully modded. Now my Air Force parts are pretty good on this. I really should work on the auxiliary, but overall it does what I need it to do very well. So I think now we'll go ahead and look at some of my tech that I have completed. I have the military, industry, city honors, basic city defense, all maxed out, as most people at this stage of the game do. For advanced combat, I don't have much at all for anything except artillery. I've done a little bit with tank, but nothing too substantial. Again, I only have one tank. But my artillery is completely maxed out. My artillery is awakened. And as you can see here, not much for plane either. In advanced city defense, I've just got these first two complete, and that was just to give my walls the initial jump in HP to kind of help me with the whole base defense. I won't see very significant jumps in base HP until I make it here and I level this steel-plated fortifications up all the way to level 20, which will in turn give me a 40% base HP buff. That would be so huge for me. But right now I am focused more on my modern war artillery tech. I would have to say I'm a little bit more than halfway through. I have all this maxed out above these first big three researches. So let me plug in my phone. So not too much longer. Some of these researches that are in this advanced combat or modern war tech are they're pretty hefty. So it is taking a while. I don't spend any more money in the game. I've actually stopped because Lilith is a never-ending money pit, and it's kind of silly to spend that much money on a game when no matter how much money you spend, you'll still be a little guy, if you will. Nevertheless, that's all I have in this tech tree. It's just my artillery. Once I finish this artillery tech, and my artillery becomes awakened and modern, I'm thinking I will go and do my advanced city defense until I get to this research right here, so my walls can be nice and juicy like some guys are. Speaking of walls, let's go ahead and take a look at mine. All my walls are level 50 or below. I don't really concern myself with base upgrades. You know, my philosophy is no matter how strong the base is, AGs, army groups, can and will destroy you in seconds. So for me, I like to focus on my units. I like to focus on my offensive. And I believe a good offense makes a good defense. So let's check out the walls. This wall's level 25. This wall's 39. This wall's 50. And this wall is also 50. So that gives my total base HP 649 million. And I think that's pretty average. I've gone up against guys with, 800 million plus base HP, which is a big pain in the butt. But yeah. Well, I don't really know what else to show you guys. Guess maybe we can look at some resources. I've got all these refined components mainly because I play in silver in competitive, so I can't upgrade my units to their full capacity because it'll just be reverted back to the 8.1 restriction anyway. So I've just kept a nice selection, or a nice little treasure of these refined components. You can look at my rushes. My rushes aren't very good nowadays. Definitely used to be better. But with this current stage in the artillery tree that I'm in, things are pretty slow. And even if I rush through one or two researches, I run out of city badges, and then now I'm waiting idly, no tech being researched at all, for a couple days. Here is my buffs. Nothing too special there. Officer statues. Here's the tactics, little tactic pieces that I have. Nothing too crazy. And there's that. Speaking of tactics, let's go ahead and see. Ooh. Let's go ahead and see what I have for tactics. Haven't had any legendary yet, but I've got a couple epics. So that's nice. Yeah, guys. Well, that's my base. I am CaptainMojo. Thanks for watching my video. You guys have a good one.